Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day out here in the woods. And of course, it's beautiful everywhere because we're here. Anyway, so I guess what I want to talk about today is how to really accept things. Because that's the crux of the matter. If you want to get free, you need to be able to accept what is. Sometimes that's not easy, sometimes that's hard. I mean, if you look at the way the world is, it's pretty awful, okay? But it's also beautiful. And our lives are that way too. So it's difficult to know how to start accepting what is. Okay? Now we can fight against what we consider to be what is, but that only brings up more suffering. We have to accept everything as it is. And that really starts with surrendering. Okay? You can't fight because it doesn't work. It only brings on more suffering, which makes the isness worse. Okay? So you have to surrender. You have to let go. This idea. First of all, you know what we all think that we're, right. Whatever we're doing, we think it's the right thing to do. Okay? Everybody thinks that about what they're doing, even the oil barons. Okay? That's just the way we are because we're human. Okay? And, you know, that's the way it is. But the problem with that is that when the isness doesn't agree with what you want it to be, then you're going to receive some suffering. And the key is surrendering what you want it to be. Just surrender to it. You don't have to have things your way. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Yeah, but it's true. You don't have to have things your way. You have to just let it go. Okay? Because that's the way it is. You know? I mean, we've all heard of people who just wouldn't let it go, right? We call them Karens and other things. And that's the problem. So the first thing we have to do is surrender. Okay? Just surrender. Give up. Okay? Give up what you want life to be. It's not going to be that way. Okay? And if you keep clinging to what you want, you're going to have more suffering. And you know what happens with suffering? It spreads. Okay? So, accept that you're not going to have what you want, that life's not going to be the way you foresaw it to be. Okay? Like the Emperor in the Star Wars Return of the Jedi, where he says, everything is happening as I have envisioned it. Well, you know what? It didn't happen that way, did it? No, you died. Okay? That's just the way it is. And sometimes trying to fight against the way things turn out to be, it just doesn't work. Okay? That's why acceptance is so powerful. You know? And that power is part of letting go, part of surrendering. Now, I mean, I'm not telling anyone what to do with their life. Whatever you want to do with your life, that's fine. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live. Okay? What I'm trying to do is to get you to see that this not surrendering that you're doing is bad for you. It's bad for everyone. Okay? So the first step is to surrender what it is you want. Okay? And that includes everything, okay? Surrender the way you want your coffee to be. I know, isn't that crazy? But it's part of it, okay? And let it go. Now, plenty of people have said to me, oh, well, then everybody's just going to walk all over you once they find out that you're not going to object to what is going on. Well, that's probably true, okay? But you're going to have peace and you're going to have, okay, a good life because you're not torn down every time you don't get the way you want. Okay, and that's what happens to just a ton of people on this planet. Okay, every time you don't get what you want, it's like you're crushed. You know? And I mean, I don't want that for you or for anybody. Okay? So it's far better to simply surrender what you want. Surrender it. Because you're not going to get it anyway. And this way, at least, you're not spreading more suffering. Because if you keep holding on to what you want, okay, you're spreading the suffering. Okay? Anyway. So, the second thing is to accept everything as it is. Okay? Just accept. Accept what is. Because once again, if you have a model, okay, or an idea of the way you want things to be and they're not that way, then you're going to suffer. And you're going to spread the suffering around. So just accept for your own self. You don't have to do it for anybody else. Everybody has their own, path they have to walk on. So just accept. That's all. Okay? And as you accept what is, you'll feel some of the holds on you beginning to loosen. The things you were holding on to don't seem like you want to hold on to them anymore. And they drift away. You let them drift away. And you become more and more free. And eventually you wake up. That's how it's done. Okay? The idea of spending 20 years meditating or whatever is wrong. It's a wrong idea. Okay? It's simply a matter of accepting. And one of the things you have to accept is who you are. You have to accept who you are. And if you believe or cling to that you're a person, okay, which you're not. Yes, you are a person. You have, you live in this body and so on and so forth. But really, deep down underneath the personhood is your soulness, okay? Because you are a soul. And I know not everybody believes in God, but almost everybody believes in a soul, okay? Because I guess people think it's important, okay, to have a connection with the spiritual world, okay? And that's what your soul is. It's your connection to God, okay? And every time you connect with your soul by stopping thinking, okay, whether that's through meditation or whatever, you are connecting with God. Anyhow, so that's pretty much the whole thing, okay? Surrender. That's it. Just surrender, and you'll feel freer. And then let go of what you're holding on to. Let go of all of the things that you think you are, because that's not who you are. You are a soul. Anyway. Now, you might say, well, how do I surrender when my whole life has been training me at this moment, you know, to hold on to everything. Okay? And it's true, your whole life has been training you to hold on to things. Okay? Because that's what we thought was important. That's what your parents thought was important. Well, you know what? They were wrong. Okay? Fire truck. Anyway, so just try to remember who it is you are. Okay? And, accept what is. I don't expect everybody to immediately start to surrender and accept. But if you start in the little things, just, you know, one thing at a time, okay? Surrender to one thing that's not going the way you want it to. Just surrender to it, okay? You don't have to be upset. You don't have to be offended. You don't have to have a reaction to every little thing, do you? You can start with one thing, okay? And then move on down the line, okay? To the next thing. And as you start to do that, you'll feel freer because these things that you're holding on to, they're also holding on to you, okay? And as you let them go, then there's one more thing that you're not carrying. I don't know if you ever experienced being fat and then getting thin, which I haven't, but plenty of people have, and they've told me it's like you're not carrying that person anymore, you know? And you're not carrying all this stuff anymore once you start to surrender, once you start to let go, okay? Anyway, the point is, you are a soul. Yes, you're in a body. Yes, you're a person, and you're always going to be a person, and so on and so forth. But if you identify with that person, okay, which is really what it's all about, okay, then you are going to suffer because that's just the way it is, okay? Identity is so difficult. It's such a Rubik's Cube. Hard to solve. But once you accept that you are a soul, that's who you identify as, okay? Your life's going to open up. Because that is who you are. When you identify as something that you aren't, you're basically gonna fail. Okay? That's fact. I don't want anyone to fail, okay? But I have failed so many times by identifying with something I'm not, okay? And I'm sure you have to, okay? So that's the problem with identifying with your person, okay? And it's really simple not to do that, okay? To see that you are not that person, that's not all you are. Yes, that's part of what you are, but it's not the most important part. The most important part of who you are is the soul, okay? And nothing else really matters beyond that. Once you have connected with your soul and you then connect with God, okay? Then all that other stuff that you were holding on to just drops away, okay? And it's easy to do. You just have to accept what is, okay? And stop the thinking because the thinking isn't you, okay? That's not you doing the thinking. All right, well, I guess I've talked about that. You all have a wonderful life. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know through the comments section. And Take care.